Well, hello there, you out there, you wrestling fan. Welcome to the Wednesday Night War podcast, right here on Fightful.com, FightfulWrestling.com, or YouTube.com/Fightful, wherever it is you decide to watch this. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and we are going to be talking about the war of attrition that happens every Wednesday evening between AEW Dynamite and NXT from the good folks at World Wrestling Entertainment. We thank you for joining us this evening. Once again, it's always great to see you guys show up, jump in, and listen to us break down these two shows. It's always a great way to show support. And another great way to show support, of course, is to head on over to FightfulSelect.com and join Fightful Select, which is Fightful's subscription service. It's premium service where you get premium content. You get all sorts of extra. Of course, you guys know already that on Fightful and stuff, you get all the news, you get all the scoopsies, you get all that great stuff there. But on Fightful Select, oh boy, what do you not get? It would be shorter. You don't get blueberry waffles. Then that's pretty much it.
That would be a nice service.
But that would be a nice service. Maybe there is an audience.
I'm a French toast guy.
Maybe there is an audience for blueberry pancakes. But look, as it stands right now, instead of that, you'll get Sean Rossap, who does Q&A sessions where he answers thousands of questions every week. I might be slightly exaggerating, but it feels like a lot. He also does the backstage report every Monday. You get extra content from the list and your boy podcast that he does with Jimmy Van. You get Steven Jensen, who covers all things non-WWE. And you get Alex Pawlowski as well, who does recaps, reviews, in-depth analysis of Raw and SmackDown every week on a show he calls Sour Graps. He does it twice a week. And on Wednesday nights, he joins us here this evening, and we're very privileged to have him in his in the best mood that he has watching wrestling all week. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
Good. The TakeOver should be great. But the TakeOver go home shows have usually been a mixed bag, and tonight was no different. So I'm trying to stay optimistic about the weekend, considering that they just left me with a big old mixed match turd to end the show.
That's something you don't. I think that's a medical condition, actually. When you think of, I think
that's true.
It might be really.
And you may notice a fresh face tonight on the panel, folks. As many of you, if you follow on Twitter, you probably have seen this. If not, it's coming as a surprise to you. But our good pal Louis Dangour's tenure at Fightful has come to an end. Louis is off. Basically having good night sleeps on Wednesdays. But we do thank Louis tremendously for hanging out with us over the past few weeks. He was he was great to have around. He was a good third member of our team, and we wish him well. But moving forward, filling up these huge British shoes is none other than Fightful contributor Robert Defelice, who will be the third man in this NWO we call Wednesday nights. Robert, how are you doing?
I'm much better than Mabel as a third man, but I don't know if I can be as good as Louis, but I'm going to try to be. It's good to be.
Well, I mean, if there's anything, you've got a better hairline than Louis. Hey-o! So, that being said, we are going to start breaking down the shows tonight. By the way, folks, if you want to stick around till the very end, we will be doing our TakeOver 31 predictions at the end of the show. But to kick this one off, Alex Pawlowski, who won tonight, NXT or AEW?
AEW by default.
Oh, wow. Robert, in your opinion, who won tonight?
Well, I think AEW had a little bit better of a show. I wouldn't say it was by default. I don't know if anything was as intense as that Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly segment, but AEW was a lot of fun.
Well,
tonight.
I guess we're going to be starting off with AEW tonight. By the way, folks, if you want to drop us a super chat, that's also a very good way to show some support for everything that we do here at Fightful. Drop a super chat. Go right ahead and I will read your question or comment live on the air, such as the super chat left to us by Evan Wright. Thank you very much, Evan, who says, Robert Appreciation super chat. There you go.
Oh,
Straight off
thank
the bat.
you.
Sour Graps and Alex Appreciation Super Chat. Mr. Warren Hayes Show Appreciation Super Chat. AEW was real good tonight. IMO. I agree. It was a pretty fun show. Let's start talking about it. Robert, who will be covering the AEW beat for us as we move along. We started off the evening with Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. We get a video package throughout all of this as well, which is quite unusual for Dynamite, which usually just dives right into the matches. But here we got Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. This is a feud that's been brewing on Dynamite for quite a while now. Darby blocks a Starks spear by just grabbing him and grapevining him, which was really cool. There's a suplex on the apron that happens again. And of course, one of those crazy suicide dives that Darby Allin does. Like I like to say, he puts the suicide in suicide dive.
He really
it's
does.
Crazy. Brian Cage comes out to run some interference, but Robert, who comes in to interfere with the interference but Will Hobbs? They are not giving up on this guy, man. They want to make him into something special. I thought this was cool.
I think Will Hobbs, who was announced that he'll be challenging Brian Cage next week for the FTW title, I think he's going to be a big money player. I think they clearly have plans for him. They paired him up with Moxley week 1. It's going to be a fun match next week, and this was a nice little tease.
It was. It absolutely was. Starks tries to take Allin out with some submissions. Darby hits a destroyer, and man, they start paintbrushing each other across the face. Like, I was terrified for their eardrums. Starks hits a spear as Darby comes off the ropes with a springboard. He tries for an avalanche Rochambeau, but it's thwarted into the coffin drop. Darby Allin gets the win. What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, the coffin drop to the back looked like it hurt. I don't know how Darby Allin feels about doing this stuff. I don't know if he looks at Jeff Hardy on SmackDown and he's like, I should maybe try not to end up like this guy, but he's having a lot of fun going balls to the wall. I thought it was fun. Ricky Stark's going to be another big deal, but Darby Allin's always been money for them, and this was another sign that they're not giving up on Darby.
And that's really, really good. I mean, they've got time with Darby Allin, of course, but I think, since wrestling fans are usually very, very impatient, I feel we sort of want him in a title picture sooner than later. Wouldn't you say?
I would agree. I don't know how he hasn't been pegged for the TNT title or the guy to beat Cody, but I guess it's coming down the line.
Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, give me Will Hobbs on excursion in New Japan post-COVID, and give me him versus Tomohiro Ishii, Goto, Shingo, and Suzuki.
Yes.
And
as Big E would say, big meaty men slapping meat. I would like to see that as well.
That's pretty much, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what would happen, and those would be hard-hitting matches. He also adds, Starks is so good, which is also true. And I'm really glad that Ricky Starks is going to be one of these guys who is going to benefit tremendously from not being in the NWA. There's some guys who would have benefited from being in the NWA, but I think he was just a little too he didn't quite fit the NWA mold, and he's going to break out here in AEW. He also adds, happy belated birthday, Alex. Which also, and there is also a super chat from Benoit Parizet, who left a super chat. Thank you, Ben. Also wishing you a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Alex, and great work.
Happy birthday.
And great work, gentlemen. And DGMC leaves us a super chat as well. He says, who hits their body more, Darby Allin or Kota Ibushi?
I don't think there's a debate here. Kota Ibushi's got Twitter accounts donated to body parts that just feel bad every day because he insists on hurting them. So I think it's Kota.
I think I have to, but by like a smidge. I agree. Cody Rhodes comes out for an interview, all in his black anime villain look. He says the people that the reason people shake hands in the locker room backstage is because they need each other. Okay, and this somehow leads him into talking about the fact that he's on the Go. The Go Big show, the Go Big show, right? That's the name of the That's the name of the thing. And he basically plugs the people that he's on there with, and he wonders why he's surrounded by these international superstars when he's the guy who lost the TNT title in 3 minutes. And in regards to Brodie Lee's challenge for a dog collar match, he says that the answer is very simple. It's no. He walks away. We are all stunned. But, what a master of theatrics. He turns right around, comes back and says, no as in no regrets, no turning back.
Ooh, no
he
regrets.
accepts the challenge. And as he does, Robert, the Dark Order pours out. And then everything just like goes wild. He and Brodie Lee start fighting. Officials arrive. They start pulling each other apart. Or they pull them apart. They don't pull each other apart. That'd be gross. Everyone, there's a pull apart brawl, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Brandy runs out to stick up for her man, and she meets Anna Jay, and they start fighting. Nyla Rose gets involved. Brodie Lee leaves and comes back again. Dude, this was crazy cuckoo stuff. What'd you think of the whole segment?
Oh, first of all, I want to say I empathize with Cody Rhodes. I know that My Chemical Romance was supposed to have their reunion tour this time of year. He clearly got in the spirit. He forgot about COVID. I don't know how, but he is looking like the emo star of the movie in 2008. It's tremendous. This was an okay promo. It was a little cheesy. I think if babyface Roman Reigns cut this promo, people wouldn't have liked it as much because the no regrets thing is a little corny. But we get to them pulling apart. I like this. I like the idea of a dog collar match. Should be some good old school fun because God knows Cody's obsessed with the NWA, and I think it'll be great.
If it had been peak like babyface shoehorn Roman Reigns, he wouldn't have said no regrets. He would have said the answer is no. No way, Jose. They would have given him something like that to say.
And then he would have exited doing the conga line with No Way Jose. It would have been amazing.
Right there. Yep.
Eloquent left us a super chat saying, LMAO, Nyla Rose beating up Kylan King for no reason. That was pretty funny. She just saw the opportunity. You know, she's like the person in a bar when a bar fight starts, and they just like, oh, people are fighting, and then picks up a bottle and smashes it across someone's head just because people are fighting and they have the opportunity to do it. That was Nyla Rose tonight. That was really funny. DGMC leaves a super chat. Thank you, DGMC. Says, Cody's Henry Rollins cosplay is unimpressive, in my opinion.
It really is. It's tremendous what Cody's doing. I wonder how long it takes before he goes back to the blonde, but I'm enjoying him embracing his darker side.
Tony Schiavone is hanging out with FTR, the AEW Tag Team Champions. They're not hanging out. He's conducting an interview. I was just, trying to show that they're all friends, and I'm being casual about stuff. But FTR called the Best Friends Backyarders, calls SCU a great tag team, and he says the Young Bucks don't deserve a shot. Then suddenly out of nowhere, Matt Jackson appears, and he super kicks Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of like, Nick, let's go. Where? He seemed confused. FTR were confused because they're like, hey, we're right here. Stop super kicking old men and referees. What? A bit of an odd segment.
First of all, FTR brings up Dave Meltzer I'm sure it's so much to his delight with they're too worried about the stars they get from Dave Meltzer. But I have a problem with them super kicking Schiavone. What did Schiavone ever do to them? They're going to make him leave wrestling again. It's going to be a lot more boring without Tony Schiavone. I wouldn't go around super kicking one of the best broadcasters in the history of our sport.
But I mean, they super kicked Marvez, and
Yeah, but Marvez isn't Schiavone. Though.
This is true. A little later on, we have SCU who cut a promo saying that they cut a promo themselves. Basically, I think Kazarian actually says the line, and I wonder how sincerely he's saying the line, or if he's saying it ironically. But he literally delivered the line. FTR is playing checkers, but we're playing chess. I don't know if if that was ironic or not. But as they're going into the ring, Scorpio Sky runs into Shawn Spears, who was just like hanging out and looking menacing. And that leads us into the match, SCU versus FTR, a 20-minute brush with greatness for the AEW Tag Team titles. Hangman Page joins on commentary, who says that he's not done with tag team wrestling, Robert. And this has been an ongoing thing over the past couple of weeks. And we've heard Kenny on commentary saying he wants to get back to singles work. And I kind of like the fact that we finally got Hangman's perspective here.
Yeah, I think Hangman is clearly, there's some wires crossed. He wants one thing. Kenny's already moved on, but Hangman sat around. He had a drink, watched a great 20-minute tag team match, and got to see who he thought he would be challenging for the tag team titles down the line.
And as you said, this was a really good tag team match here. Dax and Kazarian have a strong exchange at first. Christopher Daniels gets tossed out as well. FTR gets suckered into a tope con hilo by Scorpio Sky. And they do their typical tactics of keeping the baby faces cut off from their corner. But I mean, FTR do it so well, and it's so smooth and precise in the way they do it. It's always a joy to watch. Kazarian does get a great hot tag, some big strikes. He does a combination O'Connor roll German suplex on both FTR guys, which was pretty cool. Great tag team offense by both guys. Stereo cutters by SCU. FTR power bombs Kazarian. Did I say FTU? FTR power bomb Kazarian followed.
FTR.
FTU. That could be if they ever become a team together.
If they ever merge, if they ever come together.
Forever the uncensored. I don't know. Look, let's move on. The point here is that they powerbomb Kazarian followed by a Dragon Sleeper. FTR try a Doomsday Device, but it's reversed by SCU. There's some near falls by Scorpio Sky, but some Tully interference help FTR get the win. Like I thought this was a very strong match. I thought it was very, very entertaining. What are your thoughts, Robert?
Great tag team wrestling. Something you don't see on any other channel, really. And this was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed the old school Bobby Heenan, I'm going to pull your foot while you're doing the suplex for the 3 count. This was fantastic, and FTR continues to look strong. I think they're 10-0 now.
Yeah, something to that effect. And what's cool, and you pointed it out, FTR, they always say they're all about the old school stuff, and your manager just holding on to the foot to guarantee the win. I mean, you can't get a more old school manager finish than that.
It's heel wrestling 101, which I think gets lost. And when they do it, they don't do it ironically. I know a lot of people like to poke fun at the tropes of wrestling, but they really dig their heels in. They get it, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yes, Alex likes to poke fun.
I poke fun at the tropes of wrestling, but no, it's not done like the thing is that it's so classic that it's never done anymore. Like one thing, if every single heel tag team had a manager that was holding the ankle during a suplex, and they did it every single week, that's usually what I have a problem with. This is like so old, it's new again. I love it.
It's a thing of beauty, really. It really is.
Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you, Evan. He says, this was tag team wrestling. Take notes, WWE. Well, WWE...
Well, first of all, WWE needs to find some tag teams outside of the Street Profits and Angel Garza and Andrade. They can't
Look at the new guy stealing my lines. That's exactly what I wanted to say. The new guy, he's already stealing my lines.
We're in sync already.
Okay,
let's
call it simpatico. That's better. Okay. DGMC leaves us a super chat as well. Thank you very much. He says he's just not that into you too, starring Hangman Page.
Oh, poor Hangman. Yeah, I think maybe he thought he would be the new golden lover, and it's just not working out that way.
Not quite that way. No. Kenny will there's only be one special place in his heart. Later on, FTR run into the best friends, and they call the best friends the comedic relief, while Orange Cassidy calls them weenies. Okay.
Yeah. Weenies. So we're really enjoying the weenies term. I don't know. It's a little cheesy, but it works for them.
Orange. It just works for Orange. We also have an announcement, Robert, and this is, to me, is pretty exciting as a fan of tournament wrestling. We're going to get an 8-man single elimination tournament. Finals are going to be held at Full Gear for the AEW World Title shot. For a AEW World Title shot, the winner will be determined at Full Gear. As it stands right now, 3 competitors have been announced: Jungle Boy, Ray Phoenix, and much to Hangman's dismay, Kenny Omega.
Imagine, you're sitting here with the drink in hand, trying to get over your partner there, and then you find out he's already moved on. I mean, brutal. Poor Hangman.
It is a breakup story.
I'm guessing he's going to be number 4 in that tournament, and maybe that's the finals. If I was a betting man, I'd say that's the finals right there. Hangman, Omega.
Well, what's exciting right now, I find, look, Kenny Omega getting officially back into the singles business and in a high stakes tournament. That's good stuff. It's something that a lot of people were excited to see. Ray Phoenix also getting some solo shine. I'm all for it. I think he's fantastic as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good shot for him. I'm sure wherever Phoenix is, Penta's not too far behind. I know they're working with a skeleton crew, but I'm really excited mostly for Kenny. I think Kenny's got to go on to win this thing. I think people are ready for the cleaner. They're ready for some singles match, 7-star Omega, and I think it's been long overdue.
I think it has been long overdue. Evan Wright, in fact, leaves us a super chat again. Thank you, Evan. Says, inject Omega versus Jungle Boy into my veins directly. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who feel that way, and this could be a breakout moment for Jungle Boy too. He's looking like he could make a star out of himself in this tournament.
Next, we had Isaiah Cassidy of the Private Party team, accompanied to the ring by his partner Mark Quinn and Matt Hardy, versus Chris Jericho, accompanied to the ring by the Inner Circle. All five of them. Everyone was there. Jericho taunts Cassidy, who fires up and takes him down early on. Jericho gets slingshotted out of the ring, and they brawl on the floor. And to everyone's surprise here, Japanese deathmatch legend Luther gets some shots in on Chris Jericho. Tell me I wasn't alone in just being, what is going on here?
Oh, what do you mean? You don't know who that is? That's Japanese deathmatch legend Luther. He can hit anybody anytime he wants. He could win the tournament, right? By being in the tournament, he will win the tournament for the AEW World Title shot because he's the Japanese deathmatch legend. This was a surprise, but then you get into they were friends back in Canada, and now they're going to have a match next week. It's Jericho. You could say what you want, but Jericho is looking out for his buddies and going to bring Luther into a top spot. And that's
okay, and I'm okay with that. Look, I'm all for fresh matches, don't get me wrong. Cassidy hits a corkscrew plancha to the floor after all of these shenanigans happen. He hits a swanton. Hager even tries to interfere, doesn't stop Cassidy from going forward. There's a slingshot stunner on Jericho, which I think was supposed to be the silly string. Didn't quite happen that way. Jericho hits a lion salt, goes for a lion salt, but Cassidy gets the knees up, and then Cassidy hits a lion salt of his own, hits a code breaker as well, but Cassidy dives into a Judas effect, and Chris Jericho gets the win. And after the match, the Inner Circle get a few shots in, but Matt Hardy chases them off with a chair. What did you think about the match overall, Robert?
I thought this was really cool, and cool moment for Cassidy. I'm sure growing up watching Jericho, got to hit the code breaker, got to do the lion salt, and he put up a fight. And then, of course, nobody kicks out of the Judas effect. It's a good finisher. I look to see more singles action from Private Party, but I don't want to see it just yet because they've got tag titles.
They do. Oh, okay. Tag titles. That's what you'd like to see pick up. You'd like to see them pick up the tag titles first and foremost.
Yeah, I mean, that is their main priority, but at least we know that there's a future beyond that.
Anti-Villain Firestorm left us a super chat. Thank you very much for that. He says, I can see Isaiah Cassidy in the near future, to be honest. It would be interesting in like 3 to 5 years. I guess he means as a champion. Also, how do you guys feel about Austin Gunn? What are your feelings on Austin Gunn?
Austin Gunn, I mean, I'll be honest with you. If his father is any indication, be a lot of potential and not a lot behind the potential. You know what I mean? Billy Gunn is like the premier. He was Dolph Ziggler before Dolph Ziggler.
That's a good.
So all potential, no actual payout from the potential. I hope Austin Gunn does better.
To me, Austin Gunn right now, I think he's very, very green and he's extremely generic, but he's, give him time to grow. Give him a couple of years, he might all surprise us. Or at least me. Evan Wright left us a super chat as well. Thank you, Evan. Says, jumped out of my seat at the lion salt spot. Yeah, that was really cool. I thought it was pretty fun that Jericho let Cassidy hit 2 of his big moves on him. That was pretty fun.
Jericho knows what he's doing. He's trying to build the future on his back. And I think he's having a lot of fun doing it. I think he is
enjoying himself, and that's at his stage of his career, if he's not having fun, what's the point in doing it, right?
Exactly.
Next, we have a vignette with Kip Sabian and Miro, who are getting ready for the bachelor party. Miro he feels a little overwhelmed. Kip has very, very high standards, and they're in an arcade. They're playing all sorts of games, and they end up on a DDR machine. Kip taps out, and someone comes and joins Miro to play DDR, and it is none other than Billy Mitchell. Now, I realized, because I tweeted out when I saw that. I tweeted it out. I said, Billy Mitchell's a horrible person. and then I realized that a lot of people don't know who Billy Mitchell is. I'm like, okay, so I am very much a dork, but that's okay. And in case you don't know, just for a bit of context, you've probably heard of the 2007-8 documentary, A Fistful of Quarters, The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters.
Yes.
Where you have the story of this one guy who is training to become the Donkey Kong world champion, and he's trying to unseat the current world champion, who is an absolute awful person, a douchebag, a pretentious, disgusting person. And that is Billy Mitchell, who showed up there. And it's not just an act. The guy's been accused of cheating. He's suing people. He's repulsive. And I'm stunned to see him on AEW.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, for all of the progressive preaching that AEW likes to do, it's clear that if there's business to be made, they will get in bed with some not so great people, and this is proof of that.
But he's been involved in cheating. He cheats at Pac-Man, Robert. Who cheats at Pac-Man?
He's the King of Kong. He's a heel.
Jesus. And he's in lawsuits like this.
You just don't know what a good heel is.
Oh my God.
Baron Corbin's the best heel in the business. Don't you understand? He wants you to hate him. He wants you to boo him. Billy Mitchell, Baron Corbin. They should call him King Mitchell. Put a crown on him and a weird little...
he is king. He's King of Kong.
There you go. King of Kong. They should call him King Kong. That should be his name. Billy Mitchell, Baron Corbin, both of them best heels in the biz.
I'm going to lead.
I'm
moving on with a super chat. Thank you very much, Eloquent, for pulling me out of this. AEW should sign Red Velvet. Been great on Dark. Absolutely. Why don't we talk about that match right now? Britt Baker, who showed up with Rebel in her first match in a long, long, long time, defeated Red Velvet, and there's a lot of back and forth between both women. I thought they looked very good. Velvet hits a leg lariat and a bulldog. But Baker fires back with a big clothesline and some huge strikes, butterfly suplex, swinging fisherman suplex. And her finisher, she curb stomps.
I think that's a weird one to use when a top star on the other channel does it. But I guess things like that don't matter.
Orange Cassidy uses the Superman punch, right? So it's like
that's
whatever.
True.
I think it'd be good if Britt said the reason she does it is to drum up business for herself. She's the only dentist on the roster, So I'm going
I'll
to
give
knock
you
your
that.
teeth out, and then you got no place else to go but me, and I'm going to charge double.
See, that's money. Alex understands being a heel.
And clearly I don't, because I hate Billy Mitchell. I don't know. I don't understand.
So you're Canadian.
He
So
wants you
unless,
to hate him. Don't you understand?
unless it's Vince McMahon, nobody thinks Canadians are bad guys.
Except Bret Hart, right? Anyway, look. This was a really strong match. Britt Baker wins. After the match, she does the lockjaw on Red Velvet. Frankly, Robert, I thought she had a great return. She looked very, very strong. Better than my recollection. Actually, she looks ready to go.
A well-deserved return, a much-needed return for them in their women's division. I am a little surprised that we haven't seen Big Swole since she defeated Britt Baker at the pay-per-view, but that is what it is. Yes, I agree. Sign Red Velvet. Doing great stuff on Dark. They need more women. They need to be announcing that they're signing more women. I'm surprised that they haven't done that already.
We also had a match between Orange Cassidy and the Dark Order's 10. 10 is at ringside with 5 and Silver, and Orange Cassidy, of course, with the Best Friends. 10 basically just messes up Orange Cassidy for the better part of this match. He even helps Orange Cassidy do the pocket spot because he's too out of it. There's spine busters and a big kick to the face. The Dark Order mock the Best Friends hug on the floor, but that allows Orange Cassidy to get some energy back and dives onto all of the members of the Dark Order. He hits a spinning DDT, the Orange Punch, and the Beach Break gets the win. Clean little match. I thought it was a good way to pick up from the loss that Cassidy had last week. What did you think of the match, Robert?
It was fine, no major news here, but Orange Cassidy still looks strong, and I would guess with no major feud, he's going into that 8-man tournament.
Oh, yeah, you think he's going to be a part of the 8-man tournament?
Yeah.
That would make sense. They've been building him up. MJF has a promo, well, actually, a vignette, a segment. He goes into he's with Wardlow, and they go into Chris Jericho's locker room, who is entertaining the entire inner circle. But he says he's bearing gifts. He has Wardlow open up the box, and and MJF starts passing out inner circle jackets to every member of the inner circle, except Sammy Guevara. There's a bit of tension there. Jericho sort of finds it weird that MJF bursts into his locker room, and of course, Guevara not having a jacket, despite the fact that MJF says, I must have forgotten it. I had it ready. It's weird. Kind of blames Wardlow for the problem. But basically, it's an exchange after that, and it's an exchange between Jericho and MJF. Jericho asking him, do you want to join the inner circle? MJF asking him, do you want me to join the inner circle? They pat each other on the back. MJF congratulates him on 30 years. He leaves. Sammy calls him a loser, but Jericho is not quite sure.
Not so much. Not yet.
Not so much. What did you think of this, Robert?
It's amazing to me that a man that has been in the wrestling industry for 30 years can so easily be bought off to this day. I'm surprised that Chris Jericho is just like, oh, you gave me a jacket. Cool. You know what? Maybe you're not a loser. I like jackets. This is weird. I don't know if MJF is going into full gear with Jericho. I don't know if he's trying to be the young lion of the inner circle, and that's why he's kind of forgetting about Guevara. I don't know. It's very interesting to me to see these guys going at it. Wardlow and Jake Hager had a stare down. That's a tag match waiting to happen if they want to get there. And it was fun. I like the bringing up the 11 months ago of, hey, I asked you a long time ago and you never actually answered me. Do you want to be in the inner circle? Well, do you want me? I like that. I think there's a lot of back and forth yet to be uncovered.
I thought it was fun too. And honestly, I could get behind a feud where MJF and Sammy Guevara are feuding for the admiration of Chris Jericho. I think there could be a lot. There could be a lot of fun in that. We move on.
I think so.
Let's move on to our main event where Eddie Kingston comes out to announce who Mox's opponent is. He says Mox was so mad he wanted a rematch. he wanted to put his title on the line again. Was following what happened last week. So Mox was so mad he called TK, as the ass kissers like to call him, to get a rematch.
You know who you are.
With a big wink. And they're about to beat up on Bryce Remsburg because he says, he never tapped, he never quit. Remsburg says he's just doing his job, but he, Phoenix, and Pentagon are about to beat him up when Moxley comes out with a barbed wire bat, and the opponent turns out to be the Butcher, but without the blade.
Oh, wow. I don't know what the point of the barbed wire bat was. He doesn't even really tease swinging it. He just sort of carries that around right now. I don't know. This was a blase match. I thought the promo before it was more entertaining because it made Bryce Remsburg look like a competent official, which AEW doesn't really do. And to hear him say, well, I stopped the match not because you tapped, but because I have to protect you. It's my job to protect you from yourself. I like that. More of that. More referees with actual knowledge of what their job is. I enjoyed that.
Frankly, Bryce Remsburg, maybe not the best, but he's much, much better than Rick Knox, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This was it. Look, this was a hard-hitting match where essentially the story was the Butcher working on Mox's leg. Mox hits a neck breaker, and even goes for a crossarm breaker as well. But Butcher he's just focusing on the knee, continues to work on it throughout the match. Butcher hits a pump handle slam as well. Moxley a superplex and a pile driver, which Butcher kicks out of the pin attempt that immediately followed. And I love how commentary put that over. I was like, how did he get up from a pile driver? That's pretty wild. There's a flying crossbody by Butcher as well, but Mox hits the paradigm shift, followed by the bulldog choke for the win. Our boy Butcher taps. What'd you think of this one, Robert?
It was, like I said, I didn't think it was all that, but that's mostly because they put the belt on the line, and once you do that, it takes the fun out of the finish because he still has to defend against Archer in 2 weeks. But I like Butcher. I think he's a throwback guy. He would have made a great heel for Hulk Hogan. He's that kind of guy to me, and I thought it was really good. I like the bulldog choke. I like that Moxley saying, I'm the champion. I don't just need this DDT to beat you. I wish he would have used it when the stipulation at the pay-per-view was, hey, you can't use your DDT to beat people.
But hey, it still works. And this was cool. I liked Butcher tonight. I thought he showed a lot of stuff that we hadn't seen before. And I think it's this type of match, I also think is a good way to show the depth that they have in the AEW roster as well. If they're able to pull a tag team guy out and he can have a match like this where we're like, wow, okay. Yeah, maybe for the world title was maybe it telegraphed the ending a little, but still I thought Butcher looked great tonight.
No sign of the blade, and I'm a little worried about that with all the recent news of the COVID outbreaks, but I'm sure everything is on the up and up, and we'll see him again too.
Maybe Eddie Kingston did tell him that he had to go fix his stuff at home, right?
Perhaps he's attending a knife sharpening convention.
It could be. I mean,
don't.
I imagine the Butcher would want to be there.
Don't. Just let it go. We're done with AEW tonight. Folks, remember, you can always leave us a super chat. You can leave us a super chat, of course, and we'll continue to read your questions or comments on the air as we move into NXT tonight. The go-home show before TakeOver 31. Alex, I think they have to stop numbering the takeovers because you know that they're never going to let the takeovers overtake the numbers of WrestleManias, right? Like we'll never get to TakeOver 36.
Well, I guess I see what you're saying. So there are enough. Yes, because I agree with you. It's a weird thing. Like they used to have. I'm assuming the next time they can have one in a place, it'll be that again. Like the last one was what? TakeOver Portland in February. The next time they can have one somewhere other than Full Sail, they'll name it that. But since they did TakeOver 30, they couldn't think of anything else to do. And I feel like they should have just given the In Your House thing.
I agree.
To takeovers. In Your House, then a subtitle, whatever the next one was. Like I think that's easy thing to do, and it would also build nostalgia and goodwill. But what do I know? Apparently nothing.
Well, here, let's still hear what you have to say, Mr. Know Nothing, about Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai. Dakota, of course, is out with Reina Gonzalez. Blackheart goes after Dakota early on, and she stays on her, puts her in that submission that she does, like she locks up in an Indian death lock, and it's kind of like a Muda lock, but she butterflies Dakota's arms. Anyway, I'm not quite sure exactly how to call it, but it's pretty cool. Gonzalez runs interference, which allows Dakota Kai to hit a big backbreaker, but Shotzi fights back as well with a huge knee to the face. They fight on the apron, Alex, and Shotzi tries to do sliced bread number 2 on the apron, but she ends up landing on her head in a very, very scary spot. I didn't like it, Alex.
That was not sliced bread number 2. That was sliced bread number like that. Like, Shotzi, what are you doing, honey? Like, do you want, like, when you guys were like, oh, who wants to die more, Darby Allin? Or, like, no, Shotzi, because of that ridiculous friggin' thing she did off the top rope to the outside a couple of months ago, where we're like, oh, now she's dead. And she's like, no, I'm cool, but hey, can I die in the next match though? Yeah, sure, Shotzi, if you'd like to. Well, I'll just watch. Come on, girl. Like, that's a ridiculous move to do under the best of circumstances. And you're like, I'll just do it on the apron. It'll be cool. No, wait, it'll be cool. Watch. Yes, the right things was happening at the time. I also thought it was very interesting to be like, she does the welcome to the ball pit deal, the old jumping double legs to the balls, but she's doing it to the ladies, and I just love Dakota Kai's like, all right, I'll sell it as though I have testicles, because I'm assuming it hurts, but in a different way, and I just love that also Beth Phoenix refers to it. Oh, looks like it got her right in the pelvic area. Yes, that would be where it did. It did get her right there
in the pelvic area. Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley intervenes when Raquel tries to run some interference again towards the end, and it allows Shotzi enough time to recuperate, dodge a face wash, and get the win on Dakota Kai. Overall, Alex, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, this is the tier right below the top of the women's division is just outstanding. Like, you have these two. Would you be surprised to hear that we're getting Rhea versus Raquel on Saturday? It's like a last minute addition, because I wouldn't. That would be cool. Like, those two are great. Dakota and Shotzi are great. Shotzi had an amazing knockdown drag out fight with EO that should have been for the title, but wasn't, on regular NXT. Dakota had that great title match versus, like, they have all these women who are here. Like, pour one out for Tegan Nox hurting her ACL again. I thought it was, nice that they wrote her off with a storyline thing. Like, she gets, when and if and when she comes back, she has a built-in storyline to come back and go after Candice. Let's hope Candice isn't floundering somewhere in the tag division on the main roster by that point. But who knows? But I'm just saying the top of the women's division is still strong, really strong, even though they so many seem to have moved on and up over the past year or so.
We had a couple of super chats from Evan Wright. One that actually goes back to our AEW review, where he says the hug spot with 510 in silver was amazing. Yes, I enjoyed the fact that they made a little fun at it.
And really, I like, just real quick, that they had 5 and 4 come out with 10. So 10 came out with 9, basically. good tag team stuff.
Evan Wright, another super chat he left us. Thank you again. Evan says, "TakeOver 100, baby, let's go." We're gonna get there sooner than later, I think. Another super chat from Evan saying, "Spiced bread number Ibushi." That's a mouthful. And the Line Drive left us a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Line Drive. Saying, "Remember when Shotzi dove headfirst into chairs?" Yes, that was at an Evolve show 2 years ago. And I was like, what is this woman doing? Because that's literally what she did. Whoever was supposed to take the move just stepped away, and she crashed into some chairs. So
great choice to counter program Darby Allin.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a strong match. I liked it. It was a lot of fun. We get Santos and Swerve in an interview or a debate.
It's one of those deals where they did this. They would do this all the time with Becky and Charlotte, where they weren't allowed to be in the same room because they would just kill each other. So we put them in a split screen dual satellite feed from inside the arena. One of them's down the hall from the other one, but they can't be in the same room. I thought this was whatever. It was like announce the match and move on. I don't think it did anybody a favor, especially like Santos, who's sitting in his living room, but there's one hanging light bulb in a closet down the hall that's lighting him. It's just you can't see him at all, and he's wearing sunglasses. That's just not practical. I understand that Swerve Scott is actually saying some good things and okay, cool. Now we know to root for you, but we're already going to root for you. Legado del Fantasma is a bunch of assholes, so we're going to root for you anyway.
The sunglasses in the darkened room is not for practicalities. It's not because you're running in to try and chair shot people in the dark, Alex. It's to make a statement. It's to look cool, Alex. That's why he did it. He's like a cartel boss. That's the thing.
Oh, right. So cool. Could you spell that for me? Because I know you're the foremost authority on that. I myself have never been cool, so I don't really.
I know. See, I'm the guy here who knows about Billy Mitchell and is able to rant on him.
Yeah, it's true.
We get more obscure green camera stuff. And it's clearly not Randy Orton. It's even a female voice, Alex. This mystery person.
Well, it's a female. It's a female voice, but I think that's like the onboard computer in the Knight Rider motorcycle he's driving. My money, because I wouldn't bet on this, but my hope is it's Bo Dallas, and he comes back having completely blocked out everything that's happened since he left Full Sail. He just still thinks he's the dude. He still thinks he's the top guy in the company. He's wearing the single fingerless glove. He's got the white trunks, the crazy long hair, totally clean shaven. And he's completely blocked out all of that stuff he had to do on the main roster. The B team, the Misfits, what the hell they call themselves when he was with that?
The Miztourage.
Yeah, not Miztourage, but the thing where he was with Slater and Adam Rose.
Oh, the Social Outcasts.
Social Outcasts, all of that. He has no memory of any of that. He's showing up like he never left. I think that'd be so meta, and they'll never do it.
But seriously, who do you think it is?
The thing is, you can never go home again. It's somebody who's been there and left. Name those people.
Ember Moon.
Name those people who left NXT and are now on the main. I'm assuming the main roster, and would them coming back would be a
Ember
big
Moon.
thing, and also it wouldn't completely hamstring the top Raw and SmackDown.
Ember Moon.
I honestly don't know.
Yep, that's where my money is. It's Ember Moon.
Wow, that'd be great. That'd be great. I'm notorious for my love
Yes,
of Ember
you
Moon.
are.
How does Ember Moon fit into all this? If she fits into there and she shows up and then has a title match versus EO and finally wins the NXT Women's Champion like she should have done years ago, then you'll never find anybody happier than me. I just don't think it's a thing that's going to happen. I want it to. I just don't think it is.
Well, we'll see. Because to be frank, I'm kind of surprised that the Bo Dallas shtick. I get it. That's classic Pawlowski, and I'm all here for it. But I was.
Where has he been? Like, he hasn't been on TV in like a year. Like, they shipped him off to some like insane asylum. He's just broken out, and he's going back home like Michael Myers. I love it.
DGM's.
He stole Randy Orton's night vision goggles, so that's unfortunate.
But he wasn't wearing them. Somebody hovering above him was wearing them. That's interesting.
That's interesting. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you, DGMC, and he's feeding Alex right now. Bring back El Torito so Bo can trample him again. How about that?
Sure.
Thank you, DGMC, for the super chat.
But that was a short answer.
Well, at some point we do need to move on. We get Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly in a heartfelt interview or video package, I guess, where you basically see him doing mountain biking. And he's saying that no matter where
it's not just mountain biking. He is mountain biking. There's other things that are going on.
But
too.
basically, what he's saying is very, very sincere, and it's something that we haven't seen from Kyle O'Reilly in WWE so far. Saying that no matter where he's been, or where he'd be right now, whether he's in WWE or wherever, he'd still be pro wrestling because that's his passion. He retraces his past. He says he's been trying to get after Finn Balor for a while. And he says, when I finally got to America, he was in Japan. And then when I get to Japan, he ends up in America. So finally for him, it's like a full circle kind of situation. We'll talk about, we'll move into the face-to-face segment in a second, Alex. But what do you think about this little nugget here?
I thought it was really, really, really well done. Like, it totally... Like were it not for the some of the tone issues that Adam Cole had later in the night with his promo before his Austin Theory match, I would say like this little video package turned all of the UE babyface in like a minute, just because like of the tone of it and like him the way he talked, like his whole path. And then, like, yeah, I've known Adam for 12 years, and it shows them. And, like, were they ever that young? Like, that picture of them when they were starting out, like, they looked like they were 12.
Babies.
Like, it was just beautiful. And the sincerity with which Adam Cole, the man, not Adam Cole, the character, baby, like, talking about his friend, Kyle. Like, it was really heartfelt and warm and like endearing. Like, I want to root for the 4 worst dudes in the history of NXT now, because now they're not the worst dudes anymore. Now they're great. So I'm very, very intrigued to see where all of this goes, no matter, because I'm assuming there's going to be something like a little swervy swerve with the Kyle O'Reilly match on Saturday. So we'll see.
Sunday, though. I mean, I understand it's a takeover, but
Sunday,
it's
Sunday.
But yes,
Sunday.
yes. I thought it was very, very good. And this a little later on, we'll talk about the segment since we're in the Kyle O'Reilly stuff right now. We have a pre-taped face-to-face moderated by one Heartbreak Kid, Jonathan Michaels. Kyle O'Reilly and Prince Devitt shake hands. Finn congratulates Kyle O'Reilly and respects him as a competitor. Sean says that Kyle may be the best secret in WWE before Finn says that Kyle isn't a secret at all. And to me, I mean, this is proof positive just how much of a bubble WWE creates for itself, because you're not a guy like Kyle O'Reilly who wrestles for 15 years, has been in Ring of Honor in Japan, and people are like, oh, he's a well-kept secret. This is just how he was absolutely, if he's been a secret, it's because he's been booked to not fulfill his potential by WWE, and WWE, being the insular bottle that it is, will never reference his fantastic and mind-boggling accomplishments outside of there. That's just my editorial right there. Kyle says Finn is very good at stroking his own ego. Finn asks Kyle if the rest of the Undisputed Era will be at ringside for their match, and Kyle says that they won't. It's his moment on Sunday and his alone. Finn then tells O'Reilly that there'll be no excuses then when he defeats him. Kyle says that the match is the biggest moment of his career before mocking Finn and saying that he's not an underdog. But Finn tells O'Reilly that he'd be champion. The title would be around his waist if he, Finn Balor, wasn't in NXT. I thought this was fantastic. Robert, before we get Alex's thoughts, I think you had the opportunity to listen to watch this. What'd you think of the segment?
This was phenomenal. This was NXT at its best. Yes, Sean did say Kyle is the best kept secret, which I imagine if you're Kyle O'Reilly and Shawn Michaels says you're the best anything, it's just got to be an ear-to-ear grin moment. And Finn immediately jumps on that and says he's not a secret, showing that, yes, Sean is the older guy who's in the bubble, but Finn knows because Finn is watching the business. Kyle O'Reilly is tremendously entertaining. Great mock accents, mocking Finn Balor. I thought that was hysterical. This match should be everything it needs to be, and it literally makes it okay that there was a takeover 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, I really love this. They didn't actually sign a contract, but that's what this was. Like, and this, had they signed the contract, Warren, this would have been the perfect contract signing. Like, it was just these two guys who start out with a handshake, start out talking about how much they respect each other. They trade barbs back and forth, but no tables are flipped. Nothing goes wrong. Like, it's just them having this conversation, but parts of it were so intense. And I love the tone switch of certain things. Like, oh, it's funny that you would say that because blah blah blah. Like, there's such great stuff there. I want to say I commend Shawn Michaels for showing up, because 2 nights ago a janitor came into his poker game and hit him with a chair so hard that he splayed out on his belly across 3 chairs when the lights got turned on. And I mean, we have a history of concussions and stuff. So, I mean, it's great for him showing up. But the segment itself was so excellent, and it really showed you all the personality that Kyle O'Reilly hasn't been allowed to show. Like, he's just been a goofball. That's it. Like, he hasn't actually had a chance to be like he's got that side of his personality, which he's able to like just turn on up to 11, like air guitar guy, like making funny faces, all the jokes and everything. But that's only one facet of him, and he's got this other side that we've never been able to see before in NXT. And I think that that's really cool. We got to see this whole thing come out in that video package, and in this little face-to-face with Finn, all that came out. And I love that Finn is sitting there this whole time, like, just being like, yeah, I'll tell you what the whoop is. The whoop is this. Like, that was great. 20 years, 15 years, no big whoop. I'll tell you what the whoop is, son. The whoop is this. And I think it was all really well laid out. They like interrupted each other in certain points, and it felt like really off the cuff. I thought this was a fantastic segment. It was by far the best thing on the show.
You mean better than Cameron Grimes coming out being in a bad mood, saying that his opportunity was taken away in something called a gauntlet eliminator, and he's so stupid he can't believe William Regal came up with it? He's there with a much better idea, Alex. He's here for the Cameron Grimes Invitational Stepping Stones to the Moon match, where he has handpicked his opponents to go through a gauntlet of sorts. First entrant is Joey Pistachio, who gets creamed by a cave-in. In comes Joey Strong. Never got the chance to see Joey Strong do anything because he got tossed around by Ridge Holland, who wasn't a part of the Cameron Grimes Invitational Stepping Stones to the Moon match. He comes in and inserts himself into it, and he just continues stomping on our boy Cameron Grimes until the ref has to call the match. Alex, what the hell is wrong with Ridge Holland coming in to mess up such a tremendous moment for our boy Grimes?
I'll tell you what's wrong with him. He's in a bad mood himself. Somebody stole his big black dildos. I didn't see it out there. Didn't carry it out with him. So he's very upset. He doesn't have it with him. So that's a problem. But he attacked Cameron Grimes. The thing we were talking about, what do you do with a guy like Rich Holland? And I was thinking he should be somebody's like hired muscle. Hired goons, like that should be his whole gimmick. But he's hiring himself out as a goon. Like he's just taking out anybody because certainly if you actually look at the dividing lines between face and heel, he and Cameron Grimes are on the same side. I'm not sure why they're facing each other. Rich Holland going into business for himself, cool. Let's see how long that lasts until they actually give him something to do beyond that. A Cameron Grimes. Pissed off because he got shown up by the new guy versus that new guy next week could be a lot of fun, but I don't know if there's got a lot of legs to it.
Evan Rightliff does a super chat. Thank you again, Evan, for all your super chats tonight. He says, my boy Fridge Holland has appeared. Cold boy. I like the idea of calling him Fridge. Later on, Cameron Grimes runs into Dexter Lumis, who just stares him down. It's good.
I've never been so happy to see the return of a serial killer. Like I missed him so much, and he's back, and I can't wait to see what they're gonna get up to. Like that's cool. Like listen, you have this giant, as again, a sentient side of beef wearing a flat cap and a trench coat. On one side of Cameron Grimes, and the other side is a man who almost certainly fillets his prey before he eats it. Like that's great. Like Cameron Grimes cut in the middle between those two things. I'm in. I'm in.
Either he takes a beating or he becomes dinner. It's either or. It's one of the two. Austin Theory cuts a promo. He has an interview talking about struggles. What struggles? He said he would have been in the Gauntlet Eliminator match. He should have been in it, and Kyle O'Reilly should be trying to catch up to Austin Theory. This, of course, leads to the ire of one Adam Cole, who hits the ring a little later on and says that over the past 3 years, Undisputed Era have been doing what they want. The prophecy came true, but it also did come through for them. They all became champions. Of course, they all lost their champions. Their championships. People have been saying Undisputed Era has changed, but they're still the same. They're still united, and Adam Cole is here to stick up for Kyle O'Reilly in regards to Austin Theory's comments. That brings Austin Theory out, and he gives him two options. Either you get in the ring right now and you fight me, or you stay right where you are, and the rest of the Undisputed Era are going to come out, and we are going to beat you down. So Austin Theory decides to pick the lesser of two evils and enters the fight with Adam Cole. And for the majority of this match here, Adam Cole is in control. He's got Austin Theory literally on the ropes, hits a pump kick that sends on the floor. There's some neck breakers, suplexes. Cole is just picking him apart. Theory eventually does mount a comeback, hits a standing moonsault. Cole hits a backstabber, a Uranagi. The Panama Sunrise is avoided with a kick to the back of the head. There's a Blue Thunder Bomb by Theory as well. But the match comes to an end when Theory runs into a super kick by Cole. And oh my God, what a spot that was. The last shot puts Austin Theory out of his misery. Alex, tell us what you thought.
Austin Theory is in this weird thing where he's like, he gets squashed by two different types of guys 2 weeks in a row. Then he has a good showing against the North American champion. And then he gets dominated for much of the match versus Adam Cole, but comes back and looks decent for a little bit, and then he loses. You would be forgiven for thinking he's in the doghouse of some kind, or paying his dues or whatever. You got a little big for your britches because we called you up to Raw to be in the WrestleMania Tag Team Championship match because we looked around and we said, we're trying to find somebody who could be a partner for Andrade. I mean, who could that, or Angel Garza, who could that be? You young man, you are perfect for the job. So yeah, no, this is all weird to me. I don't know where this is going. I feel it's a are you telling a story with this? If you're just having him lose a bunch of matches, okay, fine. I don't mind seeing Austin Theory lose a bunch of matches, but that's just me. But if you're actually trying to go somewhere with it, there needs to be a beginning, middle, and an end. Like who does he pick up his first victory against? How does he do that? What has he changed about his approach that allows him to pick up that victory? And where does he wind up at the end of this story? If the story is Austin Theory loses 10 matches in a row, that's not a story. No. So I don't know where we're going.
I would say tag team with Brendan Vink and they'll be ready for the Dusty Classic. There you go.
Yes, there you go.
That's a story right there. Reminder, folks, you can leave us a super chat at any time. Now we'll read your question or comment on the air. No probs. Kushida has a little vignette of his own. Lots of vignettes tonight. He says that coming to America and all the hoopla over his arrival, put a damper on everything. It was very, very difficult for him professionally and personally as well. But now it's time for him to show us the real Kushida. He's going to go ballistic. That was the exact translation. That's what the subtitles told us. Ballistic. And at TakeOver, he will explode. The new Kushida, and he said this in English, Alex, to make damn sure we understood. The new Kushida is vicious.
Good. Good.
Indeed.
Good. I am the old Kushida, the Kushida that wasn't on TV for months at a time. That's a bad Kushida. Anything other than that is a good Kushida. Kushida being vicious, especially with his opponent at TakeOver, is everything that I'm into. And he was vicious in this match with Tony Nese. I was like, are we sure we should be doing that move? That looks like you could just do it. Like, if you're wrong with that move by 3%, you break that man's arm in 4 places. Like, he's doing some crazy stuff that just feels like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm very scared of you now. Please don't do that thing where you run and jump on my elbow. Please don't.
It was a good opponent to do it on because Tony Nese is resilient as hell. I think that guy can take any form of punishment and he'd just stand right back up and dust himself off and say, "Okay, guys, see you tomorrow. Let's do this again." The match was what it was to make Kushida look like a machine of destruction. That's what we got. Slaps on the hoverboard for the win. And then Velveteen Dream pops up on the Titantron and says stuff.
Yes.
Anything to close this out, Alex?
No, that he popped up on the Tron and said Velveteen Dream things. There was nothing specific about it. It was like, dream over and dream on. I don't know what, he's not really making it anything except for like, this is my personality and that's it. There's no substance to the feud for him. It's just like he thinks he can coast on being that guy, and you know what? He did for a long time. But now, especially now, for a large chunk of the people who watch him, we're gonna need more than just I'm a little weird, and that's cool, man. I mean, I don't know where we're gonna go besides that.
It feels like his stuff feels like WWE knows we know, so we're gonna do a little bit of stuff, but we're not gonna push it too hard because otherwise. We know you guys know, but we're not going to let you know we know. But we're still going to do things, but not exactly as much as we'd like to because you guys know, but you're not supposed to know that we know you know.
Yeah. Yes. Well, no, it's like the I don't know if you are familiar with the Tom Hanks horror classic The Burbs, but now they know that we know that they know that we know. That's it, man. This femur is Walter, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Come for the dated 80s references. Okay.
I cannot recommend
good
that
movie.
highly enough. It is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
To be fair, it is very funny. Caden Carter defeated Xia Li. Again, look, there's not much to this. Carter with a takedown early on. Lee gets a shot to the head, drags Carter out onto the floor from the apron and just drops her on her back. Lee tries her damnness to get the win, but she can't. Caden then rolls through into a super kick for 2 before Xia and Caden exchange sunset flips. And Carter eventually just gets the pin. After the match, Casey Catanzaro, who was accompanying Caden Carter, tries to be all sportsmanlike and sportswomanlike, and try to shake hands and whatever. But Xia Li, she don't want none of that. She pushes people around and leaves. Okay.
See, now this, I feel like, does have a beginning, middle, and an end. The beginning was she lost one match and then didn't want to shake hands. Here's the middle. She loses the match and a singles match, and she shoves people around before she leaves. Okay, good. Now, we can't just do this part 4 weeks in a row. There needs to be an actual thing that happens after that. I don't know if I'm super excited with what the inevitable thing is, where we have like heel kung fu lady as a character in the women's division. Like, it could be great. It could be, or it could not be. So let's see where that is. But I don't need like a month of will she or won't she officially turn heel. She just seems kind of like a sore loser. Now Beth Phoenix like gently scolding her from the announce booth of like, now I don't know. I think she should probably shake hands. Like, eventually we're going to have to get to the point where she starts kicking people's faces off. And then it's going to be something. Until then, we got...
If all else fails, there's a whole stable of ninjas waiting for her on Maine.
Oh, jeez.
True.
It was announced. We talked about it a little earlier at the beginning of the NXT review, but it was announced earlier today, and they mentioned it on NXT tonight that Tegan Nox tore her ACL again, and she's going to be out for a while. Robert, what a goddamn bummer. Like an absolute 100% certified grade A USDA bummer.
My heart breaks for her. A third torn ACL in just about as many years. And you really have to wonder, are they looking at, hey, why don't you look at producing? I don't want to write her off because I think she's fantastic. But are they going to do what they did with Jason Jordan and just go, hey, maybe the in-ring stuff isn't for you. Let's see if we can find a spot for you here.
Alex, what do you think? How do you feel about Tegan?
I mean, the Jason Jordan comparison can be apt. However, the neck is a very different thing than the knee, and she's recovered from it twice before. So it's possible that the third time's the charm, and we get a few years in a row without her getting any major injuries. That's possible. It's also possible that 3 times in a row is really bad for your knee, and it turns out it's really hard to recover from that. I really hope that's not the case because she's dynamite in the ring. She's a lot of fun. I think though, if it comes down to it, there are a lot of worse women that women could learn from in the PC. Like, she knows her stuff, and she's young and she's vibrant, and I'm assuming she could connect with a younger generation that somebody who's even 10 years her senior might not be able to as a coach. So I think that she could be invaluable in that way, and yet I hope that's not what happens unless that's what she wants. If she wants to come back, I hope they give her a shot. I hope they don't do the thing where we're going to write you off because you got hurt too many times, which is like, it's a business where that kind of thing will happen. And to blame somebody's ligaments for snapping seems kind of ruthless.
Well, we wish her the best and swiftest recovery. She is going to be missed. We hope she is able to come back healthy and have a long career. But as we mentioned again earlier in the evening, we have a promo with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae where they basically kayfabe the whole angle, blaming Candice for the ACL tear. Johnny saying, look, she breaks my TV, she tears her ACL, it's karma. Okay. Wrestling. And then they talk up their match for later in the evening. We have Io Shirai and Damian Priest, who are suddenly buddies and are doing weird Bullet Club finger salutes to each other. No, I get it. It's metal. It's rock and roll because they're metal, and because Io said rock and roll in Japanese, so they're really, really rock and roll. Anyway, main event was Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae versus Damian Priest and Io Shirai. And they go right at it. The Gargano and LeRae sort of stall because they're getting overwhelmed, and Gargano he eats shit for the better part of for the first part of this match. Priest is just completely laying into him. LeRae hits a basement dropkick and goes for the Meteora on LeRae, but Gargano jumps in to keep that from happening. The heels end up on the floor. Shirai dives off of Priest's shoulders to the floor, which was pretty cool. She hits a German suplex. Priest hits a throwing suplex of his own. Io Shirai hits a springboard missile dropkick on Johnny Gargano. She hits quite a bit of offense on Gargano throughout this match. Io avoids the LeRae moonsault and hits a double underhook backbreaker on LeRae. Io Shirai hits the moonsault on Gargano, but Priest eats a low blow by LeRae, keeping him from getting the pin on Johnny. And Gargano hits the slingshot DDT to get the win on Priest. And after the match, the heels take out the baby faces and celebrate with the titles, Alex. This is our lead-in for TakeOver.
And what a lead-in it was. I hate this. Like what are we doing where we're going to promote the pay-per-view? I know we're not actually selling pay-per-views anymore, but you promote the big show on Sunday by giving us the people who were fighting on Sunday fighting each other on Wednesday. What the hell? You did the same damn thing with the Intercontinental title thing. You just had the triple threat on Friday, and then they fought again on Sunday. The only thing was we added a couple of ladders. Like, it used to be you would keep the people who were fighting at the pay-per-view separate for weeks so that we would really want to see them hit each other because we hadn't seen that before. Now, the thing is, you're watching this thing and all the stuff that was happening between Priest and Gargano is the same stuff that's going to happen on Sunday. You know it. Priest is going to be in control for the first 6 minutes of the match. Then he's going to do something like one of his cyclone kicks or something and accidentally kick the ring post. And then Johnny Gargano is going to take control and do rest holds and jump on his knee a few times. And eventually, one of the two of them is going to take control near the end of the match and win. Like, it's the same. They're just doing a dress rehearsal. Like, I don't want to see a dress rehearsal for the pay-per-view. The reason in theater that nobody comes to see the dress rehearsal is because it's a dress rehearsal. It's not the opening night. Nobody would come to see the opening night if they already saw the dress rehearsal, because guess what? It's the same damn show. Like, I hate that. And the same thing with Candice and Io. I don't want to, you're cheapening everything that's going to happen on Sunday by showing it to us on Wednesday. Especially in a mixed match thing where the momentum can't continue because somebody tags out and then the other person's got to tag out, which is against the whole rhythm of tag matches where you tag in to get an advantage, but the advantage is null and void because the other person then has to tag out too. It's
a weird set of rules. And we could say, oh, well, they're doing the best they can with the COVID situation. Some people are out, but the thing is that we've seen WWE do this in healthier eras, the exact same thing. So it's hard to say, well, they're doing the best with the hand they've been dealt, but there's precedent. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much again, Evan. He says, so here for Sour Graps Wednesday edition. You got a little glimpse of it. If you want more, FightfulSelect.com. Subscribe today. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Our NXT TakeOver 31 predictions. We're going to jump right into that. The NXT Cruiserweight Championship will be on the line. The champion Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. Alex, who you got here?
I this is really bad for Swerve, but I don't see how you can take the title off of Escobar yet. Like, you haven't done anything with him yet. Like, there's lots of stuff you can do with Legado del Fantasma that you're not doing. So to take the title off him already, if you had done all that stuff and there was plenty of time to do that stuff, now would be the perfect time for Scott to come in and take the title off of him. But you haven't done any of that stuff yet. So you got to keep the title on Escobar, which really hurts Scott because he doesn't seem to ever be able to win when the chips are down against Escobar.
Robert, what about you? Who do you got?
So I think their excuse for that will be, well, you should be watching 205 Live, but nobody's going to do that. That being said, I think you give it to Scott here, and you move Escobar up, because I think
you could.
The main roster needs tag teams, and Escobar is a hell of a character. I think you can use him on Raw.
Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream. Robert, why don't you tell us who you think is going to win this one?
So you guys put this so well with the they know that we know that they know that we know, and I just look, if you're not going to fire him, if you're going to keep Dream, I'm fine. But shit or get off the pot, move him up to the main roster, or what are you doing with him? He's got nothing left to do in NXT. He puts Kushida over here, put him on SmackDown.
Yeah, the percentage of people who will know anything about Velveteen Dream, like at all, like drastically is reduced when you put him on Raw or SmackDown, because that's a completely different kind of people than who watch NXT. So then you don't have as many people who are subtweeting you, the WWE account about stuff. So you put him on SmackDown or Raw. I think that he's definitely much more of a main rostery type character anyway.
He's been for a while.
I think you should definitely do that, and you just gotta let Kushida win his first TakeOver match. Yes. By the way, how is this Kushida's first TakeOver match? But he has to win.
This is the world we live in. Damian Priest, the NXT North American champion, will be defending against Johnny Gargano. Alex, who's the winner here?
Again, I say Priest only because like they haven't done anything with him yet. Like he's had like a couple, like one title defense, right, against Thatcher on regular NXT, and like that's it. Like he spent the first 3 weeks after winning the thing like sitting in a hot tub with girls in bikinis. Like that's his entire thing. Do something with him. Like if you're gonna do the thing where Gargano and Candice are both champs at the same time, and you do that thing where the power couple, if you're gonna do that, fine. But again, do something with it. But until then, like I feel like you got to keep it on Priest because they haven't really utilized him yet.
Robert,
as champ.
I have to echo those sentiments. I mean, Gargano is the top guy on NXT. He can be anywhere he wants to be at any point. But Priest is finally gaining some steam. You got to keep it on him.
The NXT Women's Championship will be on the line. Io Shirai will be defending against Candice LeRae. Robert, who you got here?
The complete antithesis of what I just said about Johnny. Candice needs this win because how is this Candice's first title match at a TakeOver? She's been the best women's wrestler in the world for far too long, and they need to utilize her. I think Candice wins, and I think bonus points, she gets confronted by Ember
Robert
Moon.
knows that if he wants to stay on the show, he has to say good things about Candice LeRae. Alex, who you got?
Everything you said, Robert, is correct. And yet they don't seem to know what they have in Candice, and so they're like, oh, she can take it, she'll lose. But I think either she and Johnny both win or she and Johnny both lose. I don't think one of the two of them wins. But I love your prediction. I just think that Io needs to keep it for a while, just because she's Io, and again they haven't done anything with her yet. But if Io were to lose it, I could see her moving up and becoming like the Kairi Sane to Asuka and like actually running that again, but this time with Io.
Finn Balor, the NXT champion, will defend his title against Kyle O'Reilly. Alex, who's winning this one?
It's gotta be Finn, right? Like I don't love that because listen, Kyle is great, and I'd be so interested in what they would do with Kyle O'Reilly as NXT champion. It'd be so unexpected. They'd have to like completely change the way they write for their show. Like usually it's the top guy is the top guy. Let's write top guy stuff for him to do, as opposed to this, which would be like out of the blue, out of nowhere. You'd have to actually think when you were writing stuff, which would be cool. But I just think that it's got to be Finn because, as they say, nobody ever loses their first title defense in NXT except if you're Keith Lee.
Robert?
Well, it's we keep beating this drum, but again, they haven't done much with Finn. But we're also in that era where Finn's also a main roster guy. He was the first Universal Champion. He's fought Brock Lesnar. If they wanted to switch it to Kyle, you very easily could. There's so much stories you could tell there. My fear, but what I think is going to happen is Finn Balor wins it, and Undisputed Era gets called up to be misused on the main roster.
The other fear that I have is that they did such a great job of giving us fodder for a swerve, and basically jumping Kyle out of the group, because he does seem like the only guy who's really got a heart. We didn't see Bobby or Roderick on the show tonight, but Adam Cole so vociferously saying Kyle O'Reilly's going to shock the world. Nobody deserves this more than he does. It does seem like if they hadn't just done this recently, like I think it was the TakeOver Portland, where Gargano stopped Ciampa from winning the title by like grabbing the title, not letting him have it, and then he cost him that thing. I could absolutely. Who am I kidding? It doesn't matter how recently they did it; they'll still do it. Adam Cole costing Kyle because he doesn't want Kyle to become champ.
See, but here's what you're forgetting: that was a pre-COVID world, different timeline completely. That was 5 years ago. Yeah. We're good to go. We can run that back. Yeah. Look. They fought in the Tokyo Dome. Adam versus Kyle is money. I'd just rather see the money for the championship.
The correct answer to the winner of the Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly match is the fans, folks. That's the one. True. We all win. And we all won tonight doing this recap of both AEW Dynamite and NXT. Thank you, everyone, for hanging around here till the very end. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, do give the video a thumbs up. That stuff always helps out a great deal. But what also helps out a great deal is if you find out what Robert Defelice is up to this week, and he's going to tell us.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice, as you see on the screen. I'm also over at WrestleZone doing their podcast Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I do the news there throughout the week. I'm over here on Fightful Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I do Smart Out Moment podcasts on Wednesday and Saturday, which you can see here on YouTube at Smart Out Moment. And yeah, that's it for me. This was fun.
It was a good time to have you, Robert. It's going to be a good time moving forward. Alex, what about you? Where can people follow you?
You can find me on the Twitter at Alex Sour Graps. I do the Sour Grap Show twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays, talking about just the worst kind of wrestling program.
He talks about Retribution is what he does.
Well, I didn't this past week because they had the night off. So, we'll talk about other things.
You get the night off when you get a contract.
Yeah, exactly. Sign your contract the next week. Take a breather, guys. Stay at home.
They signed the contract and say, all right, in the contract, our first 2 weeks we're on vacation, right? Okay, we're signing the contract.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Warren Hayes. Or why don't you go subscribe to my own YouTube channel at youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes and join me for my live show tomorrow evening, Thursday, 9 p.m. Come join us. It's a good time. But it was a good time tonight, folks. The premiere of Robert Defelice and the continuing saga of Alex Pawlowski. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you for showing up.